Okay, now we're going to take a look at a couple of pentatonic sequences which can help use this first position in a more kind of musical context. So if you're improvising, it gives you a few ideas that you can throw in while playing over a backing track. So here's the first sequence. Okay, to start off this sequence, we're going to start on the 12th fret on the low E string, and we're going to hammer onto the 15th fret. Then on the A string, we've got 12 to 14, pull off to 12 on the A. Then we've got 15, pull off to 12, hammer onto 15 on the low E. So all together. Okay, so that's the pattern that we're going to be doing from each string. So that started on the low E string. We're now going to carry on with that pattern from the A string, and we're going to do this. Okay, so that's 12 to 14 on the A, then 12 to 14 back to 12 on the D, then 14, pull off to 12, back to 14 on the A. So. Then from the D string, we've got 12 to 14, then 12 to 14, back to 12 on the G, 14, pull off to 12, and then back to 14 on the D. So. Then we've got 12 to 14 on the G, 12 to 15 on the B, then pull off to 12 on the B, then 14, 12, 14 on the G. So far we've got this. Okay, then we've got 12, 15 on the B, 12, 15 back to 12 on the high E string, 15 pull off to 12 on the B, then 14 pull off to 12 on the G. So we've got. Then when we get to 12 on the G, we're going to hammer back up to 14. Then we've got 12, 15, 12 on the B. Then 14, pull off to 12 on the G. Then 14, pull off to 12 on the D. Then we're going to hammer on to 14 on the D again. 12, 14, 12 on the G. Then 14, pull off to 12 on the D. Then 14, pull off to 12 on the A. Then hammer on 14 on the A. 12, 14, 12 on the D, 14 pull off to 12 on the A, and then 15 pull off to 12 on the low E. So that last part slow should sound like this. Okay, and at a slow tempo, when you put both of those back to back, you should have this. Okay, here's another pentatonic sequence you can try. Okay, for this next sequence, we're going to start on the 12th fret on the low E string, hammer onto the 15th fret on the low E, then skip over the A string, and we've got 12 to 14, back to 12 on the D, then 14, pull off to 12 on the A, hammer back onto 14, then skip over the D string and play 12 to 14 on the G. Okay, so at a slow tempo we've got this. Then we're going to move to the D string and play 12 to 14 on the D. Skip over the G string and play 12, 15, 12 on the B. Then 14, pull off to 12, hammer onto 14 on the G, then 12 on the high E string. So we've got then we've got 15, pull off to 12 on the high E string, 14, pull off to 12, hammer onto 14 on the G, then 12, 15, 12 on the B string, then we've got 14, pull off to 12, hammer onto 14 on the D, then 12, hammer onto 14 on the G, and then finish on 14 on the D. Okay, so we've got this. So at a slow tempo, the whole sequence should sound like this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is play those last two sequences that we looked at over the backing track just to see how they sound. So here it is. Okay, so as you just heard me play over that backing track, you can hear that those sequences fit quite nicely into the groove, and you know, it's something that you can kind of do on a repetitive basis, or you can join up licks, you know, so like bending or doing any sort of like double string licks, you know, with using these sequences.